I wanted to make a video of suffering with sentience. I come from the sense that these terms, suffering, pain, hardship, harm, toil, they all have a similar experience, sensation that's derived from the intent of those words. Essentially, when I look at what it is to suffer, to be in a mode of suffering, you're talking about, there's a quote from Buddha. He said, to be conjoined with things which we dislike, to be separated from things which we like. That is also ill. Not to get what one wants. That is also ill. In a word, this body, this fivefold mass, which is based on grasping, that is ill. And what I like to do when it had the word ill, I substitute it for the word suffering. It's just semantics, linguistics. It's the same thing. And with suffering, you're looking to come out of something. You're looking to long for something else. And you can't tell me that's not in the psyche of an everyday sentient being. That's all that we constantly do. We're constantly looking to come into some other new situation out of a situation that we would rather not be in. That's literally the basis to existence. So, of course, people can be suffering in greater valencies than other people. Like, yes, we're not playing this suffering Olympics. We're just saying at bottom that that's the mode to this existence, that's just the essence of what we're doing here. So I just, when people say, oh, well, I've had a great life, or the good outweighs the bad for me, or, and that's great. Power to them. All I'm saying is when you look at what you're actually doing and not this personal, qualitative, subjective viewpoint that really doesn't mean anything in terms of rationality and actual intellect. When you're looking at what people are actually doing on a day-to-day, they're suffering. We're in modes of suffering. You don't have to say it, because I get it. Words mean power and all this different power, awareness, attraction. I get why people don't want to say it, but that's the truth. We're in modes of suffering. Come on. You look at what we have to do. You look at the systems that we have in place is to, work within what we have to work within. It's just what it is. Whatever you do, you're having to upkeep certain things, or you're looking to stay away from other things. It's just this up and down thing. It's not, you can't, what you look at what people want. People want to be happy. People want to feel good. People want, joy, all these internal feelings. So it's not even like a lot of times that we're really looking to externalize certain experiences. Yeah, we may want to do certain things, but at the end of the day, we want this certain internal experience of fulfillment. The whole point is, many times than not, the way that you get that fulfillment is by needing to be alleviated out of at least a non-preferred state of being. You're looking to change your reality to something that is preferred. And the whole point even of that is it's transient, it's temporary. So it's not like you're just in that moment forever. It's going to surely pass. So, people say, oh, well, I lived a great life, or the good outweighs the bad. I am happy that people are able to say that. It's not like I get it. The whole thing is, when you look at what is actually going on, they're alleviating a harm at bottom. And one of my other videos, how I said, we're fixing problems. That's what's going on. So it's, yeah, you can say you lived a great life, or the good outweighs the bad. I'm not whatever, but it technically can't outweigh the bad, because it starts off bad and it's a derivative off of bad things. So yes, you can say you lived that's fine, but it's not really authentically truth. Again, you just look at how we go about things, the things we have to do, just jobs. And that's why I made the work video and with the politics video. It's like, these are things that are here. It's just, there's certain trials and tribulations we have to go through. So to say the good outweighs the bad, it's literally fundamentally inconsistent. It cannot be that case. It is flawed in that type of logic. It's faulty. Because the good is it's not the common denominator. The common denominator is suffering. It's the bad. The good comes out of that. I mean, you just talk about a child. A child cannot just be a child. You have to nurture them. You have to cater for them. You have to develop them. You have to raise them. You know, that like there's always these things that are needing to be encompassed within the sentience of anything, for that sentience to be upkept and maintained and for its well-being. So, I mean, you can talk about, anything. That's why people go to work. That's why we have to have these certain avenues when it comes to politics or our social class, our well-being with our family. All these, because it's like we're living in a vampiric system is another way. We're dependent on certain outside external things for our internal well-being. So to say, again, the good outweighs the bad it's very immature. It's myopic. It's low level. You're not thinking enough. And again, it's not like I don't understand what that means. We all get what people mean when they say that. It's just on an elemental framework. It's not the case. It's not the case, because if the good outweighs the bad, people would not be having to do anything right now. Right now, as we speak, people could just literally stare at the wall for all of eternity of their existence. But that's not, you can't just be. So that comes back to the point. All these internal feelings and emotions, what's the point? I mean, if you're at the end of the day, just wanting to be happy, when happiness is something like all these things are within, that you can cultivate that without having to have these externalities preferred and in whatever compromised states that you would want it to be in. No, you can just feel happy and get that internalization. That's something that you can reap and gain for your own. You don't need something outside. So it's like, why are we even here? Why are we playing this happy game? Why are we having to have to go through these forms of reflection and meditation to be able to understand these? It's pointless. You might as well not have to be in this predicament to begin with when you have nature kicking your ass. It doesn't make sense. So it goes back to how, again, people do want certain external things. And the whole thing is, again, if you're looking to strive, you're already looking to suffer. And the whole striving is inherent to humanity. Humanity will always be in a mode of striving. So that mode is literally a mode of suffering, because you're looking to be out of one state, you're longing for another. So that's literally what is the essence of suffering. So people, again, within that context, they can say whatever they want, but that's what you're doing. That's what we're all doing. And that's the, again, essence of suffering. So if you're really wanting to go about it and talk about this, it just goes back to the ethical viewpoint that it doesn't make sense to promote, creation, procreate. It just is bad, bro. I mean, it's that simple. It really is. But when people say these certain just offhand sayings and statements, most and generally speaking, if someone comes to me and says that, I'm gonna, just nod my head and walk on. But it's really, it's not the truth, and it should be probed more. And once it is probed more, these points would be shown that they're not really making sense. Not really making sense. So yeah, that's the topic. Suffering, it's here, whether you like to say it or not. Harm, whatever word you want to put there, whatever encompasses basically a non-preferred state of being, that's here. We are constantly in modes of that on a day-to-day persistent basis. That's just what it is. You can have it better than the other man. And I'm not, playing this comparison game. Take your personal subjectivity out of this. I'm just saying from the outside looking in, that's what's going on down here. That's the function. So when people like to say, oh, well, the good, it literally is inaccurate. That's all I'm saying. Qualitatively, I understand their personal subjectivity, and again, power to them. But the point is, when you look at even still the qualitative and quantitative basis without your subjectivity, you're just, again, as if you're an alien looking at Earth, looking at this realm and looking at what people do and the different creatures here. They're in states of suffering. That's no question. There's no, that's just what it is. Just what it is. People just don't like certain words or whatever, but that's literally observational reality. Whatever you want to coin it, whatever, but that's what it is. So that's just why when I have to, whatever online topic, and I have somebody that comes to me and they come from a different opposing viewpoint, I understand where they're coming from, and in many ways they're right. But the whole thing is there's such a faulty logic within it that I had to point out. This is just basic stuff. You don't have to really research or read anything. This is just, again, it's just life. If you've come across enough things, and if you're well-rounded enough, it's going to be so apparent, so glaring, that if this comes to you, things like that, sayings like that, you have to check it. And, those plants of seeds can grow into something that will hopefully prevent this whole game from having to happen in the first place. And that's all I really do when it comes to hanging out with people or whatever. I look to plant seeds across my friends, my family, not really more so with work and whatnot, because that can get touchy, but I just look to plant seeds and, make it where hopefully at another point of someone's life, they can go back and think about the certain saying or teaching, understanding that they may have had come across them, and to hopefully piece it all together. Suffering, it's here, it's there. You can name it whatever you want to name it, but that negative infliction, it's there. Okay. It's not something that we can just say, oh, we're not that. No, your essence, your being is within that. It is what it is.